right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. And boy, oh boy, it has been at least a week since we've had a little chat show. Thank you last night for everybody who joined us here for Statterbox at the cinema. We had a wonderful time watching some Halawa Valley movies. And today we actually will continue on with a smidge of that during our Lono Listening break, but that's not going to happen for a little bit. Just sneak preview. But before we get into what we're going to get into, I want to say hey to Shakalak. And no, to answer your question, I didn't mean to leave the video on demand up from yesterday, but it has been removed. All right. And then we've got Darlene in the house saying hello to everybody. Terry in Scotland coming in from Scotland. Hey, Terry. And we've got Kenny from the Cove saying aloha, fam. Let's see here. Who else we got? Shock saying hello to everybody. And we've got Rick coming in saying aloha to everybody. E-Music saying how's it? We've got Mama Sean coming in from the YouTube side, bragging about delicious finishing of garlic shrimpy shrimps. That sounds delicious. It needs to be in my belly yesterday. Yummy, yummy. All right, then. So it looks like we have got a crowd coming on in, thinking about partying hard, right? So let's get that party started, shall we? All right, let's do it. Ooh. Oh, shock. I'm jealous. In recovery from dim sum, that alone I'm jealous. And leftover birria. Also jealous. I had some chicken tortilla soup, which basically was some chicken broth with some softened tortillas in it, because I'm very simple that way. Garlic shrimp, though, that sounds delish. I might have to have some later on, because I have garlic and I have shrimp. And let's see here, Shock. I won't mention the roast duck or anything. Well, you know what? I've never had duck to my knowledge, so I wouldn't be as jealous. I'd be a little bit jealous because I really want to try the duck, but I wouldn't be that jealous because. And Kenny. Oh, wait. Okay, so all right. So Kenny is asking Terry if he has Hulu in Scotland, because apparently there's a hilarious hockey-themed series on Hulu called Shoresy. If you can find it, you should check it out. It's an acceptable alternative to watching the Bruins in the playoffs. And let me just tell you, Kenny, I've never seen Shoresy, but I'm 99.99999% sure where that character came from. Have you ever watched Letterkenny? It is, I think, a 10 or 11 series parts. It's a Canadian show. I believe it's on Hulu. I'm 99% sure it's on Hulu. It's called Letterkenny, and I think they've got like 11 or 12 seasons. And Shoresy started out on that particular show, and I can only assume. Yes, Shoresy is a spin-off of Letterkenny. I can only assume that Shoresy was a spin-off of Letterkenny, and I can only imagine how hysterical that hockey spin-off must be, because Shoresy's a piece of work. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, honestly, I can't really explain it. You're just gonna have to watch it. But Shoresy is on Letterkenny. He was a star of the hockey team. You never got to see his face, but he was just an asshole to everyone. I mean, he was just the biggest jerk, but he was also the best player. So, yeah, hilarity oftentimes ensued. And, grass-fed. Let's see here. Shoresy is Slapshot on steroids. Exactly. Not even surprised. And Darlene had the grass-fed burgers, steamed broccoli with fresh cucumber spears. Yummy. That also sounds good. And I have some thawed out hamburger meat in my refrigerator that I was wondering what to do with. So maybe I'll just make a bunch of hamburgers and eat them. I don't think I've got broccoli though. I do have green beans. Maybe I'll have some hamburgers with green beans and some gravies. That sounds like that could be good for dinner too. But not as good as garlic shrimp. But better than this, Wisconsin, you're on notice, all right? Because we can't not do this. I mean, welcome to Chatter with Statter. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about cannibal sandwiches. Cannibal sandwiches. Wisconsin, you know what I'm talking about. Wisconsin in the house. Anyone other than Wisconsin in the house want to tell me what a cannibal sandwich might be? It's also known as tiger meat. It's also known as jaguar meat in Brazil. Cannibal sandwich. Yeah. Cannibal sandwich. Here's a cannibal sandwich. It's a picture for you. And I'm not kidding. What is that? What is that? What is that? Well, it's a thin slice of cocktail bread, rye. Always got to be rye, apparently. Hey, Gina, good to see ya. We're talking about cannibal sandwiches. And, yeah. Cannibal sandwiches. Hey, Lady Misty, good to see you. And, yep, those are a special treat around the holidays, especially at Rick's side of the get-togethers. There you have it. So what you're looking at, in case you're like, I think I know what I'm looking at, but I want to make sure. You're looking at a thin slice of rye cocktail bread. You're looking at raw ground steak. Not just any hamburger. You want it to be lean. You want it to be freshly ground. You don't want to just grab it out of the hamburger package. You want to tell your butcher what you're doing. He'll grind it fresh, and you'll want to use it before the end of the day. Then some thinly sliced onions and salt and pepper. That's a cannibal sandwich. Have you guys ever eaten a cannibal sandwich? I just heard of a cannibal sandwich today, and I said, what? And ultimate carnivore action, says Rick. Darlene, I really couldn't eat it though, couldn't get used to it. Yeah, Gina, no, never had one. No, me either. And as an adult, I just don't think I could eat one. Mama Sean, exactly. It reminds me of steak tartare, although doesn't steak tartare have usually a raw egg mixed in with it, which just to make it the next level gross. But when I was a little kid, I will tell you this much. When I was a little kid, I used to love eating raw meat. And so if I was a little kid, I would have eaten this no problems, hands down. Now as an adult, I just don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could die. And Kenny, cannibal sandwiches were real big with your mom and her German friends. I had a few way back in the 70s when we had a real butcher shop in Cove. Yes, and apparently that is where it comes from, is German immigrants brought this. Right, meat poke, exactly, Mama Sean. Without the sauce, I guess, yeah. But apparently, yeah, German immigrants brought this to the Midwest, and it's based on a German dish that's actually made of raw pork, which freaks me out even more. Not gonna lie. And the pork, yeah, not gonna do it. That was me channeling Dana Carvey pretending he was President Bush, for those of you who didn't know that. And yes, Chuck, you suspect Germans were involved in this product. Absolutely, they were involved in that product. And I just wasn't familiar with the term, the idea, the concept, the dish until today. And yeah, not down for pork sushi. Exactly, Kenny. And you know what else I'm not down for? Turkey sashimi. Because if you're not familiar with sushi versus sashimi, sushi actually technically just refers to the rice. Sashimi is the raw meat part of it. And I've seen Japanese dishes that have turkey sashimi, which once again, that's raw turkey, as They're they're eating the raw turkey. Now, I'll just tell you right now, dude. Okay? Okay. I was always told not to eat raw poultry. So, raw turkey is even more off the table than raw pork, which is even more off the table than raw beef. So, I guess if we're going into the raw meat category, I would do the beef before I would do anything. But, yeah, Gina, salmonella on a plate. I'm not so sure about salmonella E. coli, maybe. Salmonella, possibly. Absolutely, actually, possibly. Staph. Oh, there's a lot of things that it could be on that plate. And Mama Sean, I prefer a bit of a char on my meat rather than raw. Abso-flippin'-lutely. And, let's see here. Oh, Mama Sean, you just saw a chef on YouTube on Oahu cutting Molokai venison into poke. Okay, that's cool. You can absolutely eat that for me. I will share it. I will share it with everyone. Everyone can share from my plate the abundance that I would have left over. Oh, yeah. And Terry in Scotland. Trichinosis, or something like that, more commonly known as trichinosis, is a parasitic foodborne disease that is caused by eating raw or undercooked meats, particularly porks infested with the larvae of a type of roundworm called trichinella. I think, isn't that what caused what's-his-face's brainworm? I just recently learned in the last couple weeks that RFK had a brainworm, apparently. And you get those from eating raw meat, like pork. And so, yeah, all right. Okay, background music starting to compete. Just turning the background music down a little bit. And let's see here. And Kenny, it seems that your mom and her friend are ate a variety of questionable things on rye bread. It stemmed from food shortages in World War II. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense. But at the same time, yeah, I wasn't born during World War II yet, so I don't have that, and neither do you, apparently. And honestly, I admit this is a privileged stance, but I like not being familiar with that meat product. And there you go, Darlene. That was your argument when members would say, hey, aren't you going to have one? I'd say, no thanks. No wormy worms for me. Yep, but yes, so Cannibal Sandwich is what this is called. And apparently, actually, so this is, as Darlene mentioned, during the holidays, it's actually quite the meal, or not meal. It's part of family get-togethers during December, or during the December holidays in the Wisconsin area. Apparently, it's very common to have it on the holiday spread. However, there are some places in Wisconsin that they serve it all year round. Hey, Puzzycat, good to see you. We are talking about Cannibal Sandwiches. And it's a worm roulette, Sammy, says Pocola T. Hey, Pocola T, good to see ya. So this particular version, it's the thin bread, it's a little bit of meat, it's a little bit of onion, salt, and pepper. That was the little hors d'oeuvres that they sell during, that they have during Christmas. But some stores, delis, actually have a sandwich that they make that is this, with full-size bread and like a quarter pound of meat with the onions and then the salt and the pepper. And I saw someone eating that on a YouTube video, and I definitely could not eat that much raw meat. Even as a kid, I wouldn't have been able to stomach a patty of raw meat that... Yeah, no. And exactly, Kenny, I'll always be a big fan of the meat and fire combination. Flames and meat just can't be beat. And exactly, Darlene, nope, I can't. That is just too much. Yep, and the funniest thing about that video that I didn't show you because I didn't want to watch that guy eat the sandwich again, the guy who made the sandwich, the owner of the particular store that sells the particular sandwich, he doesn't like them. He doesn't eat them. They're just not his thing. But everybody else seems to love them, so he still serves them. Clearly an acquired taste. Clearly an acquired taste. At least I'm assuming so. And it's one I don't need to acquire at all. But Cannibal Sandwich is, for whatever reason, what they call it. I don't know why. What I do know, though, is there was a little bit of a video that was caught on tape. No, that's not true. I have a video. Picola T, he doesn't meet them because he knows how they're made. Yeah, exactly. Because he makes them. But, like I said, it's called a Cannibal Sandwich. It's also called a Jaguar Sandwich. It's also called Tiger Meat Sandwich, depending upon where you're at. And I've got a video that almost turned a tiger into a cannibal. Okay, not really. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, you guys. Check this out. And boy, oh boy, be glad this wasn't your backyard gathering. Yes. So, did you see that? Oh, hi, kitty. Yeah. That was a little too close for comfort for everyone, I think. The pupper doggo, the two cats, the mom, the kid. Yes. Yes, that was a big kitty. And I have to say, this particular house has all of their Ring cameras set up quite lovely to get the full action. But yeah, that wasn't just a kitty. That was a cougar. Yes, indeedy. That was a cougar. And whoops, hold on. There we go. Let's just watch it again, shall we? Yeah, so the chickens are being chickeny. Chicken, kitten, and cougar, coming in hot, coming in fast, coming in wild, gonna get those kitties. Wait, where'd the kitty go? What? Where's the kitty? There's the kitty. There's another kitty. Oh my goodness, wait. Oh no, the kitty's cornered. Oh no, the kitty's gonna run right past the cougar. Now the cougar's gonna chase the kitty. Oh my goodness. And yeah, a large cardboard box would have diffused that situation very quickly. And eMusic, you often learn new things on this channel. You didn't know anything about carnivore sandwiches. Exactly. Ick. No thanks. Yep. And it looked like that little kitty was about to become a carnivore sandwich a cannibal sandwich for the cougar. And yeah, Picola T, I don't know why the cougar didn't target the chickens. I guess the cat the movement of the cat caught its eye or something. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is excuse me, what I do know is this particular video took place. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm going to do. Do you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do. It took place in a town called Monroe. And as you can see here on this map, Monroe is right up there, near the top, sort of near the top of the map. Below Marysville and Lake Stevens and Everett, it's Monroe is right there. Do you see it? Do you see it all? And that is where that video was taken. And yeah, Kenny from the Cove, you can't blame that cougar. Chickens, house cats, tiny humans, and a tiny dog. That place was basically a mountain lion buffet. You're totally on point there. And so Monroe is where it took place. And if you go and you follow the line out of Monroe to the south, you'll see that that little highway goes to another town called Snoqualmie. Now, if you remember correctly, Snoqualmie is right next door to North Bend, where the zebra was located and running in the wild. Now, obviously, when I said that there was a zebra, when I said there was a cougar that was seen near the zebra, that is definitely going to be a different cougar than the one that we saw in that video. But my point with all this is cougars, as you can see, are very near Seattle. All those green areas are foothills in the mountains, heavily forested, and basically at a home for those big old cats. And yeah, Mama Sean, Dr. Steven, you lived in Monroe when you were first married. Exactly. I knew that you were up north, so not at all surprised. And yeah, Picola T, that's true, or whoever it was that said that. The cats tend to target ground animals before flying animals. Well, that's not really true. I mean, maybe big cats. My cats definitely like to they like to reach for the sky. They like to reach for the sky. And but my one cat who tried to take down a chicken once, he got scared and ran way home. He realized that those chickens are a lot bigger up close than they look when they were across the street. So he ran over. My neighbor had like a flock of chickens in their yard, and my cat was like, "Oh, ground birds. Those are easy pickings." So he went to the backyard of my neighbors thinking he was going to get easy pickings. And then he saw the feathered dinosaurs. The feathered dinosaurs that were as tall as he was. He didn't like those. He got scared. And Kenny, you'd be willing to bet one of those house cats tried to start some with the cougar, and the cougar was like, no, not today, Garfield. I don't know, dude. I think both those cats looked like they were not willing to have a conversation with that cougar. And let's see here. And Terry coming in. Munros are defined as Scottish mountains over 3,000 feet in height, and which are on the Scottish Mountaineering Club official list of Munros. In addition, the SMC defined Munro tops as Scottish peaks above 3,000 feet that are not considered Munros. I don't understand that, but okay. And that is true, Darlene. Chickens, especially the roosters, have spurs and claws and will fight back. And hey, Andre, good to see you coming on in. Thank you for that gift sub to Crow. We are right now, we're just talking about a visit from a cougar to a house. And I don't mean the kind of cougar that I am. I mean the kind of cougar that is native to the area. And then we're also talking about cannibal sandwiches, because weird people in Wisconsin eat them. Not everybody in Wisconsin, just the weird people. All right, there we have it. Okay, you guys. So I normally don't like to spend much time talking about, things that matter. But as many of you know from being absent last Wednesday, and then also from my social media posts, I ended up getting COVID for the first time since COVID existed, I guess. And so I wasn't feeling well on Wednesday. So actually, here's the deal. The timeline is thus. On Wednesday, when I didn't feel well, I didn't know what I had. I just knew I didn't feel well. So I called the stream off because my brain wasn't working right. The next day, I felt great, and I was going to go to work, but all of my friends who were local, who knew that I'd been sick, were just like, "Did you take a test? Did you take a test? Did you take a test? Did you take a COVID test? I'm sending a COVID test over to your house right now. My husband is dropping off a COVID test right now. Bang, 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 bang. I'm at your house giving you a COVID test right now." So they forced me to take a test, y'all. They forced me. And then as it turned out, I was literally about to go to work, and I take the test, and I'm like, "Oh, I got COVID." So I had COVID. So then I let my boss know I've got COVID. maybe you do too, because she was feeling sick, and then she tested and she had COVID. Oops. So I was like, oh, well, whatever. I've got COVID. I guess I'll just isolate. I don't feel that bad. I felt good enough that I was going to go to work, I thought. But since I tested positive, I figured maybe I shouldn't do that. So I didn't. So I stayed home. So then the next day, my friends who were nagging me about the test were then just like, dude, did you get the Paxlovid? Did you get the Paxlovid? Did you tell your doctor? Did you get the Paxlovid? Did you get the Paxlovid? Did you get the Paxlovid? Oh my God, are you taking Paxlovid? And I was like, no, I'm not taking Paxlovid. I didn't even tell my doctor I have COVID because what is the point? Well, boy, oh boy, did they get pissed off at me for that because, because as Chuck said, numbers are up. Big spike in Singapore. I'll be masking again, if not tomorrow, the next day. Yes, numbers are up. So I was like, fine. So I called my doctor to see what I can do, to see if I should get Paxlovid. And after being transferred around because my doctor's system is useless, I finally get to talk to the nurse hotline guy who is apparently a 22-year emergency room doctor who, for whatever reason, was on the nurse hotline that night. And so he was like, all right, what's your deal? I was like, well, I tested for COVID. And his first words out of his mouth were, why are you even still testing? And I was like, because of peer pressure? Which really was true. He laughed and he's like, you don't even need to test for COVID anymore. It's just a cold. It's no big deal. Do you test for a cold? Do you test for the flu? Why are you testing for COVID? You don't need to test for COVID anymore. And I was like, okay. And he's like, the CDC came out with new guidelines back in March of 2024, and they're treating COVID these days just as you would treat any other respiratory illness, be it a cold, be it the flu, be it whatever. If you're sick, if you have a fever, if you have these certain set of symptoms, you need to isolate. But if you don't have a fever and you don't have a lot of symptoms, then you're done, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay, so, should I take Paxlovid? And he's just like, no, we don't give Paxlovid to anybody unless they're immunocompromised, cancer patient, or in kidney failure to such a large degree that they need dialysis. So I was like, okay, well then I guess I'm not going to take Paxlovid. And so I didn't get any Paxlovid. And then I was like, okay, well, how soon can I go back to work? Because the test that I am taking shows me as positive. And he said, you're potentially gonna test positive for the next 60 days because as the virus is shedding, you're shedding the dead virus, and it might pick up as a false positive. So there's really no point in testing because you're just shedding the dead virus and it comes up as positive. And so I was like, okay. And so he's like, so basically, don't just, if you still have a fever, don't go out. And I was like, I don't have a fever. I never had a fever. And he's just like, well, take some medicines to clear up the mucus and you should be fine. Now, I did this and I'm feeling fine, etc. People that I've told this to got very angry because my boss, for instance, her doctor totally gave her Paxlovid. And so, and one of my friends at the bar who got COVID, his doctor also gave him Paxlovid. Now, I realize these people are a little bit older than me, but they still didn't fall under the 3 criteria that the ER doc gave me. Now, I don't know whether or not the ER doc was giving me a line of bull just because it's what I wanted to hear. I'm pretty sure it's not the case. I think he believed what he was saying. I did go check the CDC guidelines, and while the CDC guidelines weren't quite as laissez-faire as he made it seem, the CDC guidelines that were released in March of 2024 definitely indicate that they're trying to treat RSV, flu, and COVID as the same, basically with the same parameters, which is if you've got a fever, if you've got, a sore throat, if you've got a couple other symptoms, you're clearly contagious, stay home. But the moment if you don't have a fever after 24 hours with no fever-reducing medicines, then you're really just fine to go out and about. You can wear a mask if you want or not. And so my point in this is there's a lot of confusion right now over what should or shouldn't be done in regards to COVID. if you test for it, if you shouldn't test for it, if you're testing positive, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so, um, so what, why I'm bringing it up is, um, nobody seems to know exactly what the CDC guidelines recent thing are because it seems like doctors are doing very contradictory things. Um, but if someone is not testing or not taking Paxlovid, don't give them a hard time for it because it's really up to your own personal comfort level at this point. Even the CDC is saying that. I encourage you to go beyond what I just said and look up the CDC guidelines for your own self. Because, like I said, repeating what the doctor said to me, it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, like, as much as I liked to hear what he said, trust me, I did. I didn't want to take the Paxlovid. It still was just like, I'm a little skeptical. But the CDC kind of was in support of what he was saying. And so yeah, I guess what I'm just saying is, like, do what you guys need to do. If you get it and you don't want to take the Paxlovid, I don't really know. I don't really know if that really matters anymore, right? I mean, unless you're of the type that you need to. And Picola T got COVID twice, both times on cruises. Go figure. You just mask and distance when I'm unwell, out of consideration for those who are compromised. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what when I found out that I was COVID positive, I went through and called. I felt like Typhoid Mary. I felt like I felt like the whore of Babylon or whatever. I had to call everybody, just be like, oh, I got COVID and I might have exposed it to you. I felt so silly. But as it turns out, that, I guess, according to that doctor, was wholly unnecessary. And Andre, the doctor's just saving Kaiser some money. Honestly, dude, maybe, for real, like for real. But honestly, also, I didn't really want to take Paxlovid because everything that I read about Paxlovid is just like, well, it might shorten it for a day. Maybe. Among those who didn't get the vaccine, it's helpful. For those who did, it might be helpful. Well, you know what? I don't want to take something that might be helpful. That's not good enough for me. And so, Kenny, as many times as you've been harpooned to prevent COVID, if you ever get it, someone somewhere is going to catch a butt whooping. Well, in theory, you can get it and have no symptoms or mild symptoms. My symptoms literally were a runny nose, a slight cough, and being stupid. Being stupid. And honestly, being stupid was the most prevalent symptom. Still a little bit lingering, so bear with me, shall ya? And shock, being stupid is a good reason to stay home. That's funny. And let's see here. And right, that's how you feel too, Shock. Practice safety measures. Rick also slept in the other room. We kept distance as best as you can. Right, yeah, totally. And that's a really good idea, but here's the deal. It's also a good idea to do that if you have the flu or if you have the cold, right? I mean, it's miserable to be sick, regardless of the flavor of sick. And so, yes, Picola T, hubby had the first generation of virus. It was very bad, never been sicker. Grateful he was not hospitalized. Exactly. And yeah, and that's what the doctor was saying, is it's basically evolved so it's now more contagious, but less sickening. And so oh wait, and then trailed us, you tested negative, got the shot, and then got a call at home because your test changed. Okay. And Kenny, we need more people who are truly infected with the stupids to isolate. Abso-flippin'-lutely. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't have a show on Wednesday, because I was full of the stupid. Full of the stupid. And Terry coming in, most people's symptoms of coronavirus get better within 4 weeks, but for some people, symptoms can last longer or new ones can develop. Some people may experience the symptoms of long COVID for months or for years. Symptoms can also change over time and can affect anywhere in the body. Yeah, excuse me. I have a friend who does have long COVID. It does seem like a pain in the arse. However, she also was a friend of mine who was one of the first people to take Paxlovid, which I realize they say that Paxlovid, which I don't think that they even really know, but they say it might help with long-term COVID. There's no way that they know that. And because of my personal bias, the one person that I know that took Paxlovid and then got long COVID, I didn't want to take Paxlovid. I didn't, and I don't. I haven't, I won't. I mean, I won't this time. Who knows? Next time I might change my mind. But yeah, let's see here. Darlene, the first time for you, even if you tested negative, you practiced safe measures the best you could. It's really goofed up by your blood pressure, so dizzy and headache too. Yeah. And that was actually part of, I had a headache as well, actually, as part of my COVID. And that the headache and the stupids were the two worst things. And Mama Sean had it before it was a thing, since you worked at a college, and that was bad. 4 months with respiratory issues. They came out with, hey there's this new thing. Yep. Yeah, you know what, Mama Sean? I had a friend who so COVID came out, like they started to recognize it in like what, February as a thing or whatever, maybe January as a thing. I had a friend the year before in November get so sick. He was coughing up blood, blah, blah, blah. Like a bunch of his friends, he's so flippin' sick from something. They didn't know what. And obviously once COVID came out, he was recovered enough, and, you know, you couldn't really necessarily test to see if it was, but he and I both suspect that he had COVID back before COVID was a COVID. I mean, that's not true. It obviously was always a COVID, but you know what I mean. And Andre, I work with kids, so I've been exposed to many things. And all those words rhyme: long COVID, Paxlovid. Yep, exactly. And without Paxlovid, she might have gotten much more ill. Hard to say. And that's the whole thing though, is, you know, all of the Paxlovid stuff is maybe and might. Maybe and might. I don't know, man. And Chuck, blood sugar level averages seem to track closely with COVID severity. Oh, interesting. I hadn't heard that. Nor did I track my blood sugar. And Kenny, you're so nice. I don't think you've ever truly had a severe case of the stupids. If I truly had, I'd probably be in political office by now. Yes, there is something to be said for that, isn't it? Yes. And, right, Mama Sean, students got it over Thanksgiving and you got it in December and wouldn't let anyone in my office for months. Right, there you have it. And, let's see here. Yeah, so basically, guys, I didn't really want to, you know, dwell too much on a potentially controversial topic, but, I just want to let you guys know that March 2024, the CDC did come up with new guidelines, and they are a little bit different than what a lot of us have implanted in our brain. You can continue to test as far as I'm concerned. I probably will. I've been testing every day just to watch my positive strip get lighter and lighter every day. So I know that I'm better, and we're getting better at least. But basically, I just want to let you guys know there is some new guidelines out, and you should probably look them up. My doctor, not my doctor, a doctor that works for Kaiser, has an interesting interpretation of those guidelines. And your doctor might have a different interpretation of those guidelines. But a new set of guidelines did come out in March 2024, and it doesn't hurt to get familiar with them. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And you coughed until you were in Hawaii, and when we left Hawaii, the day they shut it down. Oh, so you were the one that brought COVID to Hawaii, Mama Sean. Just kidding, just kidding. And your cough can be COVID too, so be careful with it too. Funny you should say that, Mama Sean, because the doctor very specifically said lingering cough and runny nose are not considered symptoms that you need to be worried about after you're done with COVID. That doesn't mean you still have COVID. I can't explain the logic. I can't explain the logic. I'm just telling you what I was told. Just telling you what I was told. And shock, yes, there was a guy who was immunocompromised and had COVID for 2 years, asymptomatically, but mutating. That is scary. Well, it is, but at the same time, well, actually, I mean, for him, it's not really necessarily that scary, is it? Because he was asymptomatic. What's scary about that guy is he's asymptomatic and still carrying it, so he's probably contagious as heck. And he's the one that's like contributing. It's his. He's the one that's contributing to all the next variants, right? He's like, I mean, I'm not saying he's the source of the next variant, but people like him are sort of how this thing keeps coming up with new forms. And so it sort of sucks. It must suck to be him, because it's just like, I don't feel sick, but I make people sick. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mute that. That should have been muted. And oh my God, the Asian tourists were masked but coughing like crazy. Yeah, you know, that's I mean, I understand that in Asian culture, if you're sick, you wear the mask and go about your everyday life. But that doesn't mean go on vacation, y'all. And okay, yeah, no, that's, yeah, not scary for him, but scary for everyone else around him. Yeah, no, that's exactly what that's what I was trying to get at. Not very successfully, as you can tell. And interesting, your grandfather said that pineapple helped with malaria. Too bad I can't use pineapples instead of pharmacy drugs. Yes, I would much rather have a pineapple than a Paxlovid. And Trail Dust, you're a seal fabricator, so you've had a lingering cough for years. Right, exactly. COVID Mary, the guy's new nickname. Oh, COVID Mary, right, instead of Typhoid Mary. And Rick, watch out if COVID mutates with the bird flu virus. Well, let's all try not to get that. Speaking of which, though, apparently there are some people out there who think that drinking raw cow's milk, excuse me, will protect them from the bird flu virus. And so there's like apparently a huge uptick in black market raw milk selling now. People have really weird ideas sometimes. And oh no, shock. Some kid at the dojo on Saturday was coughing very chunkily and he ignored the instruction to cover his mouth. Oh, I would have, no, see, that's not okay. And honestly, I would have probably been kicked out of the dojo, because I would have taken that kid aside and said, you're a grown person, grown enough to know to cover your mouth. And if you're not going to cover your mouth, you need to not be here. You are totally rude. Not even you're not abiding by cultural norms and courtesies. No. I would probably have been kicked out of the dojo, because that would have pissed me off. And Rick, except raw cow milk carries the bird flu virus. Rick, yeah, Rick, that's sort of the problem, isn't it? In fact, everybody who like knows stuff is just like, well, that's about the quickest way you're going to get the bird flu virus to jump from one species to the next, y'all. That's the dumbest thing you could ever flip and do. But people are doing it because, because people didn't isolate when they got the stupids. Instead, they decided to share the stupids. Their stupids got contagious. And, yep, exactly. You're scared to death of the fleshy-headed space mutants. They can jump out and get you before you can scratch your butt. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Um, I know exactly, Kenny. It's like, don't be going on vacation huffing your raw cooties. Yeah, exactly. And normally raw milk is not infectious, and if it's properly handled, is a very healthy thing. But precisely. And there are plenty of people who drink raw milk as on a regular basis, not because of the bird flu thing. It's just that's how they do it. Um, there used to be a place at Pike Place Market that sold raw milk. I'm not sure if they're still allowed to do that, but I do know that you can get raw milk commercially if you know where to look in the Seattle area. Don't know how legal it is, but I do know you can. And exactly, Kenny, I would have been tempted to drop kick sponge lung dojo pants off the property. Exactly. And exactly, Picola T, I know a guy. Right. I know a guy. That is exactly it. Yeah, 7 years old. Then I would have spoken to his parents and said, you need to rein your kid in. Why did you bring him here? Actually, that probably would have, yeah, but I am, someone who almost got fired from a job because of me interfering with the child and not asking the parent if I could touch their child, because I did. I touched a child. I grabbed his arm because he was about to hit his sister, and I grabbed his wrist and I said, "You're not hitting her in my store today." Yeah, that almost got me fired. And in hindsight, I can see why. Okay, in hindsight, but my reflex didn't allow for it to happen at the time. All right. That's right. Strangers should not manhandle other people's children. But I did. And not in a ookie way, in a don't hit your sister kind of way. Yeah. Because, yes, Andre, manners are important. And that child had none. Okay, you guys, we are about 5 minutes past our usual time for Lono Listening break. And yes, exactly. I might be a Howley, but I'm a little bit of a Titta. You better flip and believe it, Lady Misty. So you guys, all right. So for those of you who were here last night, we got to watch 2 movies about the Halawa Valley. The first movie was by Molokai Matt, and it featured an older gentleman who was one of the oldest kupuna who lived, or one of the last remaining descendants of the original inhabitants of Halawa Valley, a kupuna by the name of, oh gosh darn it, what's his name? His name is Filippo Solotorio. And this particular gentleman in the first movie went to Lono's house, the 131 studio, and recorded a couple songs that Lono helped to record for him for perpetuity. Now, the second movie took place 9 years later, same family, same house, same Halawa Valley, only Filippo had passed away. Well, in order to carry on memories, one of the reasons why Filippo had gone to Lono to record music was to carry on his memories and his songs. But when Lono recorded this one particular song, he asked Filippo if he would also be able to record it and put it on one of his albums. And so, this particular song that we're going to listen to right now by Lono isn't actually by Lono. It's by Filippo, but it's Lono's version of that song. And so, here we go. It's time for the Lono Listening break. Boop.
Okay. This song, written by Filippo Solotorio from Halawa Valley, about a little beach, the last little cove beach before you head up to Puuhoku Ranch. Molokai. Pukaulua. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. You are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. You are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia. My kukuipo is a keiki wahine uila. She has a figure 8 form. And when she dances, she makes you fall in love with her. E honi pa'akaua. My kukuipo is a keiki wahine uila. She has a figure 8 form. And when she dances, she makes you fall in love with her. E honi pa'akaua. Mai ana kapuana la, you are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia. Haina mai ana kapuana la, you are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia. You are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia. Aina mai ana kapuana la, you are my darling. I met a pretty wahine down the beach at Pukalua. E kuhui pokeia.
All right, there we have it. So, whoops, hold on. There we go. All right, so there we have it. Okay, so that was our little Lono listening break, and let's see here. Terry, not exactly surprised that the Walmart parking lot was where your wife got to witness some things. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? And Andre, thank you so much for giving Cindy Krause that gift sub. And by the way, you guys, thank you. Oh, and for the 500 biddies. Thank you so much, Andre. And thank you so much, all of y'all, for hanging out during this slightly space cadet-y stream. I definitely have a little bit of brain fog left over. We'll get to see just how long that lingers. But, you know, hopefully we're able to continue on for the next like half hour or so without falling too far off the track. Because, you know, it's always best to stay on track. But when do we ever stay on track here anyway? So I don't know why I'm not worried about it. I don't know what's going on. That's right. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know what's going on, sometimes, some days, let's see here. Sometimes Sundays, I know what's going on. And see when a Space Cadet stream is oftentimes the most interesting. Well, you know, I gotta say, some of the most funnest streams that we have here together are the ones that absolutely have no plan. So I will give you that. And let's see here. You miss Zippy, says Andre. Yeah, I do too. And Picola T, last week you watched a kid running through the store and face plant. When he got up crying, his mom pinched him. Wait, what? His mom pinched him and scolded him. Took a lot of self-control to refrain from going over to make sure he was okay. Oh, see, it would have taken me a lot of self-control not to laugh. But then when his mom did that, I would have been really pissed off. So yeah, that would have definitely, yeah, that would have pissed me off for sure. I would have laughed and then I would have gotten angry. And stay on the track. Well, I wasn't aware we had tracks. How space cadetty of you. Well, you know, you can be forgiven for thinking that because, well, have you been here? It sounds like you have. And, let's see here. Lady Misty, you definitely don't miss going to the stores at, says to Picola T. You mainly go to the dollar store and eBay. And, I know, right, Andre? The faceplant is less than enough. No need for a pinch. Right, exactly. And then a stranger pointing and laughing at you. That should be, which is what I would be. That should be also enough of a lesson. But yeah, Lady Misty, you know, I don't miss going to the grocery store at all. I am lucky enough that my Fred Meyer, which is a Kroger store, so I'm sure most grocery stores, I'm assuming in the US these days, do this. If you order $35 worth of groceries online, you can just have them do the shopping for you, and then then you drive up to the parking lot and they put it in your car and you drive away. I've been doing that since COVID, not because I was necessarily so concerned about getting COVID by going to the grocery store, but because everybody was at the grocery store and the grocery stores were so understaffed. It would literally take me 15 minutes to do my grocery shopping, and it would take over an hour to stand in line to pay for my groceries. And that drove me nuts. I did that about 2 or 3 times, and I finally said, no, I'm not doing that again, ever. And so now I just order them online, and they come and put them in my car, and then I drive away, and oh, it is the best relief of, it's just awesome. It's awesome. And the most awesome thing about it is during Easter, when my crack is available on the shelves, that's right, I'm addicted to crack. Now, granted, the crack that I'm referring to is Cadbury mini Easter eggs, you know, the chocolate ones that are all chocolate, and then they have like the sugar coating around them. Not the creamy ones, but the little ones. Yeah, that's my crack. And I will live on those. I will eat those breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snack. And then in the middle of the night, I will eat them until they're gone. And then I'll go buy more. And then I will eat them because they're crack. They are my crack. And if you don't go to the grocery stores when the grocery stores are selling crack, that means you don't get to buy crack. And so for the last 2 Easters, I haven't bought any crack. Yeah, I know it's not really crack. Whatever, dude. It's crack. Okay? It's crack. It's crack. Thank you. I am good at rationalizing, Lady Misty, even if it's, you know, silly. And, right, exactly. No impulse buying. And I know that a lot of people do their grocery shopping based on impulse buying. And I will admit, I do fall into a rut with the stuff that I order all the time. And so it is a little bit difficult to shake things up. And I'm trying to, you know, change things up a little bit. But at the same time, though, it has kept my grocery budget very stable for the most part. And exactly, eMusic, congrats on avoiding my crack for 2 years. And Darlene, yeah, to be clear, the Cadbury eggs, I'm not talking about the big ones with the cream in them. I'm not talking about the big ones with the caramel or the big ones with the fudge. I'm talking about they're little, and they're crack. They're crack. And and let's see here. Wait. What did Shucks? Now I want to shout what Wait, now you want to shout what Marion Barry yelled about his drug sting? Shout it. What did he say? I can't remember what he said. I mean, I remember it was hookers and crack was what he was having a good time in the other room. So what did he say about that? And let's see here. Kenny, you used to do curbside at the local HEB until you realized that the checkout lanes are so devoid of Wait, hold on. So devoid of cashiers because they're all roaming through the grocery store, filling and delivering curbside and home delivery orders. Oh, yeah, no, see, at our Fred Meyer, they have a whole separate staff for that. That the people who are cashiering aren't the ones shopping for others, shall we say. And let's see here. Yes, mini Cadbury eggs are, yes, they're called the mini Cadbury eggs. That is exactly what, is that what they're called? Yeah, I think they are called the mini eggs, yeah. And okay, you know what I'm talking about now. Yeah, cause seriously, dude, those cream eggs, I never thought I would say this as a child. I never thought these words would ever come out of my mouth. And I looked at people really weird and confused when I heard grown-ups say this, but they're too sweet for me. Like, too sweet. Who, as a child, what is too sweet? They're too sweet for me. I know that I'm a grown-up now for a couple reasons. First off, discussions about home appliances like washers and dryers or refrigerators are fascinating to me. That is the number one sign you're a grown-up. And number two, things are suddenly too sweet for you. That is the number two sign that you're a grown-up. Beyond that, everything else is just arbitrary. And let's see here. Got DB set me up. DB. Oh, wait. Got DB douchebag? I don't know. Danny Bonaduce? DB Cooper? Set me up? I don't remember him saying that. And Picola T, those grocery store shopper pickers are like in combat mode, bullying around the aisles, kind of irrational. It's totally true. Totally true. And shock, does my washing machine have its telephone app and sing the song of its people when the cycle finishes? No. I do not have any smart appliances in my house. Oh, gotcha. Darn Butch, set me up. Got it. I hear ya. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove. I still don't understand how they have keto maple pecans. But those would also be my kryptonite. And yeah, you can't go down that aisle without a huge bag of those deliciously sweet treats. Totally. There are, yeah, exactly. You got to sometimes literally avoid an entire aisle because your crack might end up in your pipe. And by pipe, I mean your grocery cart. And I know that YouTube is probably going to, I'm going to get in so much trouble for talking about all this stuff on YouTube. Like, their algorithm is just like, you're talking about drugs, man. Like, you can't do that. Actually, no, dude, I'm not. I'm talking about candy and stuff. But it's like, I've got this addiction, man. And, yeah. And, Shock, your washer can link to a Bluetooth device, but we have not linked it. There you go. And, hey, Molly, have I tried the egg or cheese wraps that are no carb? I know not of what you speak, Andre, so I'm gonna say no. What? Where would I, what? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But they sound good. Terry in Scotland, Danny Bonaduce, douchebag. I'm repeating myself. Could be. And, let's see here. Shock. Those keto things are so expensive per ounce, it's not worth it. A tub of sour cream and a pack of pork rinds goes a very long way. That's funny. And you'll put a healthy fruit or vegetable back to make sure you can afford a duffel bag of those pecans. That's hysterical. You've tried the egg tortilla thingies, but again, the money. And Rick, exactly. Sugar is the worst drug of them all. It really is. And let's see here. Crow, sometimes sitting at dinner at your house feels more lonely and awkward than eating at a restaurant alone. Oh, totally, Crow. Because here's the deal. As someone who eats most of my meals alone and who lives alone, this has crossed my mind many times. If I ever need the Heimlich, dude, there's nobody here to give it to me. So it's actually safer to eat alone in a restaurant than it is to eat alone at your house. Not trying to make you feel worse, Crow. But yeah, go out to that restaurant and eat alone. I know that some people find it remarkably awkward, but for me, going out to watch a movie by myself, going out to eat dinner by myself, going on vacation by myself, these are definitely things I do. And eating out in a restaurant by yourself is technically safer than eating at home by yourself. So, and let's see here. Shock. Sugar was something you could only get in late summer to fatten you up for winter. Now every day is late summer. Exactly. And Andre, oh, let me tell you, dude, you've been being bad and just doing DoorDash. So tempting. I actually, through a weird thing, I got a gift sub for DoorDash for 3 months, and it's very tempting not to use it to its fullest degree, because, yeah. And, see, Honda, I should learn to do it by myself, but I don't know. I don't really have, learn to unchoke myself bending over a chair, for instance, but I don't have, the only chairs that I have, in my house are like, this is a very tall backed chair. I don't have any chairs to do that with. Like, I don't have a dining room set. I don't have a dining room chair, right? But yeah, there are ways to do the Heimlich procedure when you're alone, leaning over a table edge. Yeah, I guess that's what I'd have to do, is looking at my desk. I'd have to, because my desk is basically my table. My life pretty much takes place in like this 3-foot radius. I'm at my desk. My entire life takes place right here, in the center of my house with my desk. And let's see here. Oh, too late. Already eating dinner alone, having corn chop, or you're having corn chop and pork chops. Corn on the cob and pork chops. That sounds delicious. I have pork chops in my freezer, and I have corn on the cob in my fridge. Corn on the cob sounds delicious. And Shane, good to see you. You need a high back chair. You're 6'4", 6'6", and 340. There you have it, dude. Yeah, this high back chair would be good for you. In fact, actually, this high back chair probably would be fine for you in a lot of ways, because this chair used to belong to a professional football player, and he was over 6 foot tall and like 350 pounds. So this particular office chair is actually one of the office chairs that are built for heavy-set people, muscular people, people who weigh more than the average bear. And it just so happens that my friend Chad, who painted my house, he works for a lot of different very rich people. And one of the very rich people he worked for was a former Seahawk player who was a radio personality. Anyway, he ended up moving to like New Mexico or something like that. And so he had to and he ended up downsizing his huge house to a remarkably small house. And so we had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And so in fact, actually, this backdrop right here, and then the chair, and then the microphone stand, and that microphone stand, and a bunch of other stuff came from that football player's house. And so, the chair is obviously, yeah. So, I was very, very fortunate. And let's see here. It's something you thought of when sitting in a closet for 9 hours and 38 minutes. And yes, you mean an actual closet. Oh no, why were you in the closet for 9 hours and 38 minutes? Did you need to decompress? Sometimes the closet is a really good place to decompress. And Shane in Dallas just got dinner at Hawaiian Brothers chain. Each time I think of y'all. Dude, that's super sweet. Now, come on. You know what we're going to do right now, right? We're going to ask you what you order. That's right. What'd you order? What'd you eat? What'd you order? What'd you eat? What you got? What you got? I'm going to assume some mac salad. I'm going to assume some rice. Did you get a musubi? Did you get some saimin? Did you get some barbecue beef? Did you get some lao lao? What'd you get? 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 You don't have to tell us, but you know. Ah, there we go. Kahlua pig. Yes, luau pig. Yummy, yummy, yummy. With or without cabbage, both delish. And no, you just put yourself in there without anything, just your thoughts, earplugs, not headphones, and a clock. All right, dude. Way to like just meditate and bring silence to your world. Crow, you're a weirdo, which is why I love you, which is why you're here, which is why you're welcome, which is why you're one of us, because we're all a lot of bit weirdos. Yep. And Darlene, so tiny like Bacola T, 5'1". And although I thought Bacola T was 5'2", so Bacola T might tower over Darlene. Bet she doesn't hear that very often. And Terry in Scotland coming in with some facts. There are 53 Hawaiian Brothers restaurants in the United States as of February 29th, 2004. The state and territory with the most number of Hawaiian Brothers locations in the U.S. is Texas, with 22 restaurants, which is about 42% of all the Hawaiian Bros restaurants in the U.S. I've never heard of Hawaiian Brothers. Let's see here. Crow, you're 99% sure that halfway through I passed the time talking to a man. You were home alone. Well, were you though? Were you? Oh no, Bacola T, you're only 4'10" because you shrank. Well, now I guess never mind. Darlene is the one who's towering over Bacola T. And Kenny, now you're craving a Loco Moco from Tao's Ohana here in Cove. Yeah, Loco Moco does actually sound really, really good. And I have hamburger, and I have onions, and I can make gravy real easy. And I know how to make rice, and I have eggs. And let's see here. Everybody's pointing and laughing at tiny Bacola T, 4'10". But she's 6 foot awesome is what she is. She might be 4'10" in height, but she's 6 foot awesome in everything else. She's 6 foot awesome in world traveling, that's for darn sure. And I just did something to my computer. Are you guys still here? Oh shoot. Okay, here we go. And exactly. Do it. All your friends are doing it. There you have it. No, I'm not going to lock myself in a closet for 9 hours. I'm not. Nope. Not going to do that. And exactly, Darlene. She's a feisty woman, powerful in spirit. And so you also did it because that was your phone screen time, and that was too much internet, so you just sat in a closet. That is so cute that you were trying to punish yourself and get you to not do screen time. Oh, referring to the Loco Moco. Oh, that I very well might do. Because that actually sounds really easy. And, no, I'm guessing Bacola T probably doesn't need more leg room. And you also thought it was fun, Crow. That was super awesome. There you go. Okay, so now you guys... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I've got a question for you, and nobody seems to be able to answer this question. But, oh, okay, cool. Terry, thanks for throwing down that link so we can all see just what the flying fork a Hawaiian Brothers is. But, Bacola T, your friends always knew which bathroom stall you were in. Dangling legs. Yeah, there you go. That is hysterical. And shock. That is true, though. We shorties have some key power weight ratio advantages and surprising options for winning fights that big people don't have. Absolutely true, although I can't necessarily say that about fighting. But what I can say is, in roller derby, holy flirking snit, dude. You think that the big, brutish, 6'7" tall wall of muscle is gonna be the one to beat. Oh yeah, no, Chuck, you can say it about fighting, and whereas I can say it about roller derby. But actually, dude, sometimes it's those little tiny people who can go really low, and what they do is they get so low that they get under that 6'7" wall of muscle, and they can take them out from underneath. They come in low, and then they just swoop them with their butt hits the butt of the big one, and boom, that guy goes falling over. It is crazy how short can be a huge advantage over a taller person, especially on wheels. Because, and I know you're being smart, E-Music, shorter people are more grounded, but actually, when it comes to being on wheels and being short, you are way more grounded, and it's way more stable, and it actually, can be a huge advantage. And Crow, roller derby is an actual thing? Oh, Crow, you don't know. Yes, it is an actual thing. I used to be a roller derby, I used to be a part of the roller derby community for about 10 years. I was a roller derby official, a training official. I was a roller derby announcer. And so if you ever want anyone to talk derby to you, baby, I can talk derby to you. And in fact, a couple months ago on Statterbox at the Cinema, we had a couple roller derby oriented movies, real life documentaries about roller derby. And it actually does exist in two forms currently. There is the banked track version that most people think of when they think of roller derby, the original roller derby style. But the bank track is a lot rarer these days because a bank track is expensive to build, it's expensive to house, maintain, move, store. It's just expensive. And so most roller derby teams these days are flat track. It's on a flat track, and so you can play it in any gym. You can literally make a court or make a track in the middle of a tennis court with chalk. You can make a court or you can make a track. You can make a roller derby track any place that there's flat, smooth, big enough. And so Kenny from the Cove, now you have that Poison song stuck in your head, but with roller derby lyrics. Well, what do you know? And yes, orca filmed killing great white shark off of South Africa. I'm not gonna play that, but you guys can definitely go check that out if you want. And for those of you who are wondering now, why on earth would an orca kill a great white shark? Great white sharks are the most calorie-rich portion of the shark, so they don't need to eat the entire shark in order to get the most nutritional content. One shark liver contains approximately 2 million calories. 2 million calories. And an orca only needs, I think, a couple 100,000 calories per day to live. And so 2 million calories will literally be its caloric intake for days. It doesn't necessarily need to go hunting again because it got its fill. And so so the reason why sharks are prey for orcas, because the orcas, they are apparently surgical in their precision. They only remove the liver. They only take the liver. The rest of the shark is just whateverness. And as far as the orca is concerned, and the reason why is it's got $2 million. Not $2 million. See, this is brain fog happening right here. 2 million calories in that one organ. And there you have it. Now, apparently, when great white sharks get attacked and killed, they release this particular chemical in the water that signals something just killed me. And when other great white sharks smell that chemical in the water, they know danger is near. Get the flying fork out of here. And so what normally would be, if you go, they notice this phenomenon in California, off of the northern California coast. There's a particular section of water out there that is just notorious for sharks. Sharks are, if you're out there on a boat, you're gonna see a shark. Period, end of story. It's sharks. And then this one outfitter witnessed an orca killing a shark, and then for days, there wasn't a shark to be found in those waters. All the sharks just hightail it out of there. And so they started to do some research, I guess, and they were like, oh, well, what do you know? There's a reason why not. Yeah, exactly, like smoke signal warning, except for underwater. Precisely. And Rick, by the way, thank you so much for gifting that sub to Darlene. Once again, you guys, this brain fog is starting to catch up after an hour and a half. I was thinking that I was raring to go, but as it turns out, I might be just going. And yes, Terry, I've also heard about that pod of orcas that is continuing to sink the yachts in the Moroccan waters, the Mediterranean Sea, as it were. And all I have to say is... That's not what I have to say. All I have to say is I'm really glad that, that's happening over there and not in the Puget Sound. The Puget Sound orcas don't seem to be nearly as pissed off at the yachts as the European variety seems to be. And I don't know what yacht did what to the one orca that taught all the other orcas who to hate, how to hate, and why to hate them. But clearly, somebody did something to an orca in that area, and the orca decided, oh, I've had enough. Oh, no, you don't know. No, this is, it's over now. And that orca said, hey, come here, y'all. This is what we're going to do from now on. And they have. And they have. And exactly, we got hippie orcas eating salmon, so no attacks in the Puget Sound. That is exactly it. And Puzzy Cat lurking in and out, waiting to throw the 2-minute warning. But we've still got 5 minutes left, so there we have it. And I'm very happy to hear that Darlene has her flying forks. Again, because flying forks are the best. And don't pee in the ocean when orcas are around. Well, I mean, if that's what pissed them off, because you pissed on them, then yes, there you go. And yeah, exactly. Or, yeah, the sharks either. Let's not piss off the sharks either. I was about to say something stupid. I was like, I'd rather piss off an orca than a shark. I would rather actually not piss off either of them now that I think about it. So, yes, it's the anarchist orcas of the Mediterranean. That is right. I don't want to piss those guys off. And I'll tell you right now, the likelihood of me ever having a yacht is next to zero. So my likelihood of pissing off those whales is pretty close to less than zero as well. And, Adam Savage once said, we call poison ivy after the worst thing it does to us. What do you think orcas call us? Genocide monkeys? Maybe. But do they know what a monkey is? So are we just like genocidal dry things? Because, we're not in the water, so we're dry. And let's see here, Andre. Yeah, yacht makes me angry. Ever been to Monaco? Made me mad. No. I've never been to Monaco. Just the idea of going to Monaco seems, just thinking about Monaco seems like I should have money. It's too rich for my blood. And Bacolati, orcas might call us idiots. There we go. That is exactly it. Kenny from the Cove. If given the chance when surrounded by orcas or sharks, would be to simply pull an Irish goodbye. If you're so lucky, my friend, if you're so lucky. All I know is I don't want either of them to come take a nibble, all right? Because here's the deal, y'all. I'm well marbled, very well marbled. My muscles are not tough. I don't get a lot of exercise. They're very tender. So, well marbled and tender. I'm sure I would be tasty. And yes, orcas do think that we're not good to eat. And we actually had Actually, you guys, if you were here a few streams ago, we had a video that explained why we don't get eaten. And because we've got the 2-minute warning, I won't get into it too much. But ultimately, we don't have enough calories, we were too full of bones, and we're way too salty. So, unless the orcas develop a taste for crack seed, and some orcas might, chances are we won't be on the menu anytime soon. We will be what's considered a very acquired taste. We will be what is considered in the orca world gourmet and an acquired taste. You know, that means kind of gross but really expensive. That's what that means. All right, so. Exactly. We should just celebrate the fact that we're not on the orca menu. Okay, you guys, so I want to, excuse me, Crow Energy. Americans are very salty. Just look at any drink in America and you'll see how much sodium a drink in a day or eat. Yeah, but apparently, actually, it's not just Americans. It's just humans in general. Our salt content is higher than that of a seal, and we're too salty. Yeah. We need steak sauce to be eaten. There we have it. There we have it. All right, you guys, we are getting goofy, which is exactly what we love to do here is be goofy. And I'm so happy we got to hang out together again, finally, after a week long of a break. And I want to thank the that's right, not steak sauce, people sauce. We need people sauce. Orcas need people sauce. There you have it, Rabbit. All right, so I want to thank you guys for putting up with my coughing, putting up with my nose blowing, putting up with my space cadettingness. I want to thank everybody who subbed and gift subbed. I want to thank Andre for the biddies. I want to thank everybody who secretly actually sends me money via PayPal. You know who you are. I'm not sure you want everybody else to know who you are, but I know who you are, and I thank you very, very much. It is so much appreciated. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on Twitch or on YouTube, I have a PayPal button if you want to send me money. If you don't, that's fine too. I'm not asking for it. I'm just letting you know it's there. But what I do want to ask you to do is hang out next Wednesday at 5 p.m. West Coast time, and who knows what we'll talk about? Probably food and maybe orcas, because that's who we are. Okay, you guys, have a good one. We'll see each other soon.